Over the past 10 years, I've helped to publish more than 100 magic books. And after every one, I said mine would be next. But it never was. All that changes today with my new book, The Boy Who Cried Magic. It's not actually that big though. The Boy Who Cried Magic is the result of 2 decades of performing and creating magic. It contains my full walk-around set and tricks I've used at the Magic Castle and even routines I've performed on stage and television. Just not the balloon trick. But it does contain the very best magic I've ever created, including 16 new routines and 15 different techniques, including my latest work on the Master Push-Off and even my undo cut, which is used by some of the best card magicians in the world. But you probably want to see a trick from it. And this one uses the 4 kings and a card that you're about to select. Reach in, take out any one you like, and we'll place it back into the deck. You can see it go all the way in. And now you get to choose how this trick ends. You can choose either the red kings or the black kings.
Red.
The red kings. Check this out. The red kings will vanish from my hand and appear over here in the middle of the deck with 1 card between them. That card is your card, the 10 of diamonds. I believe that the best magic books are a result of a lifetime of performing and perfecting. And they don't just contain new tricks, but also techniques you can apply to the magic you already do. I've spent my lifetime performing and perfecting these routines. In the past 10 years, writing and publishing magic books. And so, I'm proud to present the first book of my own material, The Boy Who Cried Magic.
Welcome, everybody. You're tuning in from all over the world. The time has come, and now you know. We are here to celebrate the release of Andy Gladwin's brand new and debut collection of card magic. It's called The Boy Who Cried Magic. And if you're just joining us, we're going to replay that trailer near to the end. We have giveaways with a special deck of cards that isn't even out yet. But it's time to bring in the man himself, the man of the hour, Andy Gladwin.
Hello, the time has finally come. I'm so excited that we get to do this. And the coolest thing is there's so many friends joining us. I see on the live chat, so many people from all over the world. So Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out. You know, this is sort of a special thing, and we just thought we needed to celebrate it by chatting with each other and figuring out where this came from and the background of it. So, Andy, why don't you talk us through the background of how we go from you designing all these other books, some of them are behind you right now, to the point where you're putting out your own sleight of hand book?
Well, you know, I've always wanted to publish my own magic book, and you of all people know that after every book that we've published, I always say, you know, I'll make time to do my book next. And then it never happens because something else comes along. Some other project that we need to get working on comes along. So for the past 10 years, the past 100 books, I've promised myself that I would share my material, the things that I've been performing in all certain different environments, from walk around magic to parlor to stage magic, all card magic, but in these environments. And I always wanted to put pen to paper, but just never had the opportunity or the time. But finally, I made that time. And here we are today, celebrating the launch of The Boy Who Cried Magic.
Absolutely. It is now live on our website, The Boy Who Cried Magic. And it's not just a book. It's also a deck of cards. Do you want to tell us about these cards and maybe show us a glimpse of it?
Yeah, so the book comes in 2 formats. There's the standard edition. Do you want to see it? Shall I show it?
Yeah, let's do it.
This, I haven't actually, well, let me show you this one first of all. This is the, what we'll call the standard edition. I feel bad calling it that because I put so much into it. It comes in a slipcase, and it's full color. It has hundreds of photos. And there's also a deluxe edition, which, believe it or not, I haven't actually seen the finished version yet. I've seen proofs of it, but I haven't seen the finished version. But that comes with 2 of these decks of cards, The Boy Who Cried Magic decks of cards. And we thought it would be fun during this live stream, since there are so many people here with us, to give away some of these decks. So over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll do some giveaways, and some of you will get a chance to win The Boy Who Cried Magic decks, even without the deluxe edition.
Yeah, so show us this deck of cards. You haven't showed us the back design yet.
Sure.
and the Ace of Spades, and take us through the design of the cards. And we really need to talk about the design of the book, and then we'll get into the contents. So yeah, really,
Straight to the Ace of Spades. That was luck. I don't know whether we can get a focus on that, but there we go. So this deck of cards was designed by our designer, Michael Kuchowick, and my brief for this was to basically allow Michael to shine. Michael is, I think, the best deck designer there is, the best cover and book designer there is in Magic, and I just wanted to let him run with it. So it has the motif of the book hidden in it, but it doesn't take over the back design. And there's a few things. The Ace of Spades comes from the cover of the book, but it's designed to complement the book, but certainly not match the book. And I've been using these for the last couple of months now, and I'm so pleased with how they feel. They come from Cartamundi, and they are on their latest stock, and it's just the most perfect stock. And you know how I know we got lucky with the design and the stock is even you, when you saw them, said, I want to start using them. So that makes it
true. And I'm very picky about that. So look, if I can be honest with you, my fear is that the unbelievable attention to detail you've put into this book, which truly, I'm telling you guys tuning in, this is probably the most attractive Magic book, certainly that we've ever published, but maybe that's ever been published. We haven't even shown you the deluxe edition yet. But my fear, that's a compliment, but it's coming with a little bit of a caveat, is that it's going to overshadow the contents of the book. And I want this conversation, and I want you guys at home to like the book for the right reasons. And there's so many reasons to like about this book. But before we get into those, I do want you to show us the deluxe edition, which I don't believe you've seen. We had it like overnighted to you, and I know you got the box. But if you can show us the deluxe edition, and then immediately following, we have a carousel of images I want you to take us through, just so they can see how gorgeous this is.
Sure. Yes. So I only saw the rough proof, so I've not actually seen the finished thing. I did open the box, but I promise I haven't looked at it. I promised you I wouldn't. So this will be my first time. I did find this very amusing. I got an invite to this live event in the box. So thanks, Vanishing Ink team. Very funny. But here we go. Wow. Look at this thing. This is so it's a box that houses the book, and I've never seen it with the printing and everything. So the cover design was by George Luck, who's a general manager at Vanishing Ink. Inside comes with the 2 decks with this nice ribbon to pull out, and everything just looks absolutely perfect. It comes with a slipcase, and I believe, if we've done this right, inside will be there's a signed and numbered postcard in each one, like a book plate, I should say, not a postcard, and it's tipped in, and each one is signed and numbered. So
except for that
you're talking about except for this one, because this is my personal one. Even the inside of the slipcase we designed. So yeah, I am overwhelmed with how cool this came out. So thank you to all of the Vanishing Ink team for working on this.
Yeah, George, can you queue up these other images? Do we have some more images? There we go. And what's so cool is this deluxe edition, that's how it opens. And even the regular edition there's your cards.
There we go. I was looking for it.
And understand, even the regular edition comes with the slipcase. And I think, as a lover of Magic books, I think a slipcase is a really nice thing, because it allows you to reference the book and take it off the shelf, but it keeps your spot on the shelf.
Yeah, that's, this book was designed with aesthetics in mind, but you're right to say, I didn't want the design of the book to be the end goal. I wanted the contents of the book to be what shines, but I really tried to think about every element about, how you get this off your shelf, how it looks, and how, there's a ribbon in there to hold the place, but yeah, what's most important to me is the teaching experience and the magic inside as well.
Well, let's get into it. So tell me point blank, because I'm watching the chat. We've got a lot of people asking the simple question, what's your favorite trick? So tell us a little bit about the contents, what the kind of things they're going to find inside, and then tell us your favorite if you have one.
Sure. So the contents is in separate sections, and the first section is close-up magic that you can also do in kind of walk-around situations. For 7 or 8 years, I made my living performing in close-up performing situations such as weddings and corporate events. So it's full of walk-around magic, including my full walk-around set, that if I just have 5 minutes with a group and I walk up to them, the full set that I do. It includes a trick that has helped me on so many occasions. And when you get into a situation where you accidentally lose the selection, or you don't know what it is, or you accidentally controlled the wrong card, this trick gets you out of every situation, but it doesn't seem like you're just trying to fix a mistake. It makes a powerful and impactful trick out of that situation. There's also some of my card table gambling routines. There's my parlor set as well. The routine that as soon as I get back to the Magic Castle, when things are a different world right now, when I get back to the Magic Castle, this is the routine that I will be doing there. It's what I always do at the castle. And finally, there's also a few routines for parlor and even a stage card trick that you could do in a theater, but without even using screens. As for my favorite trick, that's always tough, I think. But there's a routine that I mentioned that I would do at the Magic Castle that to me is my favorite, because it's a really weird thing that the method happens on a different timeline to the effect, which is a strange thing to say, I know. But do you remember I did that talk at the session where I showed the method and the effect happening on different timelines? And you can see the effect is moving at one speed and the method is moving, keeps going back and forth. It's a strange thing, but that's what I love to study, how to structure effects.
Absolutely. And I'm a testament, I had the pleasure of editing the book, and a lot of material was cut out. Now, we can look at that one of two ways, but I look at it very much in one way, and that is, this book is very potent. And you were very selective of what you would put in and what you eventually took out. And talk a little bit about that process of how you decide. And then after that, we're going to announce the first few winners of the free Andy J. Gladwin deck of cards.
We always say that you and I never have disagreements, and it's true. Except for when I was working on this book, there were tricks that you wanted me to include that I didn't feel were quite ready yet. So I think that kind of illustrates that really what I wanted to put in here is just my very best magic that I feel like has reached a certain point. I feel like it's ready to share. So there's stuff like my Master Push-Off, the latest work on that. There's my False Cut, which I'm really proud to say has been used by some of my favorite card magicians, which is really cool. But yeah, I selected material based on a few factors. Number one, is it definitely original? That took a lot of research. Number two, is it something that will fit in other magicians' repertoires? Is it something that magicians can either perform out of the box or be inspired by to work on their own material? And most importantly, do I love it? Is it a trick that I want other people to experiment with? And am I really connected to the trick? So great. That's why it's not a book that's massive, full of hundreds of tricks. Instead, I just wanted to share my very best.
So there's no real easy way to say this. I'm on Slack, and I don't think you are, Andy, but I believe that the rush here has crashed the site. So
for reals?
Yeah. So I'm going to list out the giveaways. If you want to step out for a second, you can. There are a couple announcements we can do, or just attend to the chat there. So here are your first giveaways, everybody. Magic Amanda 87, you just won a deck of cards. You just have to DM the VI account. DM us on Instagram with your address, and we'll send it to you. Magic Man Jeff, you just won a deck of cards. Ethan Jaffe Magic, you just won a deck of cards. So if you participated and posted where you're from, link it, share it, you can win a deck of cards too. Just post those in our chat right now. Our first 3 winners. We've got 9 more winners to go. All right, so Andy's going to try and fix the website. For those of you who don't know kind of the way our company operates, Andy wears so many hats, and one of those hats is sort of the catch-all everything online. And so the only time he can't make a repair on the website is when he's live talking to you. So we've just taken him out. But this is a great time to make another huge announcement unrelated to The Time Has Come and Andy's book, The Boy Who Cried Magic. And that is, we've launched this new thing called Showtime. And Vanishing Ink Showtime is, I think, an awesome pivot for us and for you guys in a pandemic. And that is, once a month, we're bringing shows to your home. And we're starting with Justin Willman. So December 9th, which is less than a week away, December 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific time, you can watch Justin Willman's show. Now, I realize his show is online. Maybe some of you have seen it, but there's a great reason to watch with us. And that reason is that after the show, you get to kick your family out, kick your spouse out, your partner, your kids, and you get to watch a performers-only question and answer where he takes us through how he came up with the show, troubles that he had, the funniest thing that happened live in a virtual show, and tips that he can give us for our virtual magic experiences. So it's very affordable. It's $35, and we have Justin Willman, and then we have Ben Seidman in January and Carissa Hendricks in February. And look, we're not sure we're going to continue it, but if you sign up and you love it and you want to watch this with us, we've got a lot of really distinguished magicians signed up already, so it's going to be a star-studded Zoom event, then please sign up and join us with those. Now, I believe I'm getting a thumbs up, but then he vanished. Andrew Gladwin, are you there? If not, I'm going to keep going. Oh, he is back. And
I just need exactly 30 more seconds. You, my friend, are a complete pro. So just 30 seconds, and I will be back with a fixed site.
Very good. Okay, so we're talking about The Boy Who Cried Magic. Here's an interesting thing. On stage, I sabotaged Andy, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Basically, what I heard, we were talking about, like, what should we do with this book? We want to make the rollout different. And so I said, I've got the ultimate idea for a rollout, for the deluxe edition only. In addition to the deck of cards, in addition to the book, we've got to include something limited, something of value, something that's rare. And it should be a hair from Andy Gladwin's head. And I was serious because I thought, he doesn't have that many left to go. So it's certainly rare. And as time goes on, he will have even less. It will get even rarer. And it shows that he's fun. He doesn't take himself too seriously. So on stage at the session, I put it to a vote. Overwhelmingly, we voted to include the hair. I thought it was a done deal. In the end, sanity laws and logic prevailed, and we didn't include the hair. I'm upset about this personal loss, but I mean, what can I do? You don't win them all. Okay, so Andrew Gladwin is back. How'd it go? What was wrong?
Honestly, I hate saying these things because you see this in other launches and you see it, you never believe it. But I mean, the website is being bombarded, actually more than I think we've ever had before, including more than our Big Friday sale. So we upgraded the database server. Not to get too techie, but we have some techie people. We upgraded the database server to have 4 times the normal power, and still it's running at 98%. So that's why the site's going to run slow for a little bit. But it is what it is. But at least we have it back online anyway.
All right. Well, if you've got it fixed, I think it's time to take some questions because remember, we're giving away more decks. Oh, we can give away some more decks right now. Here we go. Are you ready for more deck giveaways? Chris Stewart from Germany, you just won a free deck of Andy Gladwin, Boy Who Cried Magic playing cards. All you have to do is DM us and you got your deck. Carl Foreman from Pennsylvania, you just won a deck. Anthony Bruno from Oklahoma City, deck. Pak Ling Cheng from Vancouver, you won a deck. Kevin Goosey.
How many are you giving out?
What's that?
How many are you giving out? Keep going if you like.
2, 3, 4, 5. We've given away 7. We've got 12. Relax. You see this? He's selling all kinds of decks of cards or books, and he's still.
Let's do this to make up for your hair thing. And I genuinely mean this. These people email us would be easiest. Email us your address. But I genuinely mean this. If you would like one of my hairs stuck to the deck, I'll do it. How about that? Okay,
we're gonna have to limit that very much because time is against you. With
yeah, and you know what? 7 hairs already is probably a few too many. But still, and I have my hair cut just for this. So yeah.
Let's get into some questions. So Stefan Hugerwerf asks, will the cards also be available outside the deluxe version?
You know what? It's a great question. We actually don't have an answer for that just yet, but I think they probably will be, is all I can say. And there's a reason for that. Is actually we're not 100% sure how many we have left because I took a load and you took a load and some of the team have. So I want them to be available, so let's see what happens.
Okay, so that's a maybe. Stefan asked another question. When can we expect your masterclass live?
That's a great question. I would love to do a masterclass live, and you know as well as anyone, we just try not to jump into these things and be the. We don't want what people might not know about us is we don't always want to push ourselves forward and be those guys, and we have so many great people coming up. So you don't need us right now, but one day soon.
Right. Okay, here's a really good question from Xavier Linasorzo. He says, I don't perform the master push-off yet. Does the latest work include a complete explanation for first-timers? So for those who don't know, explain what the master push-off is, explain to them how I taught it to you, and then explain if you're going to teach it in the book.
Good. I wondered how long it would take for one of those to come in. And by that, I mean, with every project I ever do, Josh always says something like, yeah, I came up with a cover for that. I designed the website. I noticed you didn't claim the website this time around when it crashed, though. The master push-off is a technique for doing a double lift or a double turnover, but with no breaks or get-readies. Often when you do a double lift, you have to kind of do like a pinky count or a push-off like this. But instead, I wanted to come up with a push-off technique that was completely reliable. So it's a way of taking two cards as one. In fact, we may as well. If I can hold up to the camera, there we go. So take over two cards as one with no breaks or anything like that. And I just discovered over now, how crazy is this? 20 years of working on this technique, pretty much. I discovered that there's so many other things you can do with it, from not just double lifts, but triple lifts, quadruple lifts, second deals, third deals, fourth deals, palms, switches, controls, so much stuff. And I've just collected it all over the years. And yeah, I think this is the clearest way to learn it. And I know I have my DVD on it, and people say I'm a visual learner. But the difference between a written description and a video description is I poured hours, dozens and dozens of hours on this write-up so that I could really make sure that every detail was covered. So I think this is the best way to learn it if you're a beginner.
Great. We got another really good question, and the name it comes from is Ben Wrightson. Ben asks, what was the hardest part about creating this book? And this is interesting, how did you come up with the name?
Well, let's give Ben a free deck. That's a great question. So free deck for you, Ben.
Ben, DM us in the Instagram. That's where everybody else is sending it, the addresses, and we'll get you a free deck. With hair or without, please specify.
Yeah, please. Yeah, ideally not too many people with the hair.
Ask for hair. Ask with hair.
What's the hardest part? You know, this sounds like one of those silly kind of interview questions, you know, like job interview questions. But the hardest part was that I've worked on so many other magic books, and I'm critical with every one of those as we go to try and get the best book possible. But the hardest part was just basically being overcritical with myself. I redid the layout multiple times. We reshot the photos multiple times, just because I just wanted to really strive to get the thoughts of what were in my head, not just the tricks, but the thoughts of the aesthetics and all those things. To put those onto the page was really difficult for me because I was just so critical all along. How did the book title come about? I think a fun question, because originally the book was the working title was Operandi, as in play on my name, A-N-D-I at the end, and I didn't like it. None of my friends liked it, but I just couldn't think of anything that felt befitting of the book. And then Josh was doing a lecture tour in the UK, and we were driving around many late night 3 a.m. drives back from one lecture going to another. And I remember the exact roundabout we were driving on, and it just hit me. I just said, how about The Boy Who Cried Magic? And it just came in that split second. So it just is a book title that seems to really fit the book and fit me. So I hope people like it.
Yeah, I'm in Ohio with my parents right now, and I explained to them today was the big launch of our book. It was a big day for our company, and they're like, "Oh, that's so great! What's he calling his book?" And I said, "He's calling it The Boy Who Cried Magic." And they're like, "Why?" And I was like, "I can't really. I don't know what. Like, I don't. It's just a cool, Yes, but why does he cry a lot? What's it?"
How long have your parents known me? They know I don't cry. Your parents get a free deck of
cards. So many questions. I want to try and limit you. I want you to do quick fire answers on these, like very quickly. Ryan Bayer asks, why did you decide to write this book?
Because I promised myself 10 years ago that I would.
How many pages are in the book? From Patrick Ovenfirth.
I think 250 or so.
We go for details of Vanishing Ink, so I'm going to wait for that.
Okay. I thought this was quick fire. The exact question is exact answer, 251 pages.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that detail.
Thank you for pulling me up on that.
Kevin Capinos is asks, is the spectator cuts the aces you showed him in Costa Rica in the book?
Sorry, Kevin.
Held it back. Maybe for the boy who cried even more.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is fun. Our team has just sent me this. Joe Turner made a comment, sigh, I can't get my order through. I'll try again later. Gets a deck of cards for his trouble. Yep, your sarcasm, Joe Turner, a friend of the site, has just got you a deck of cards. Joe Turner is the latest winner in the deck of cards. He gets one, and just DM us with your address, and we'll send it out to you. Will the standard edition, Andy, be limited or mass-produced? This is from F.A. Poroy. And maybe you should explain a little bit about how many deluxes there are and whether the regular one will be reproduced.
So there are 300 deluxe sets, and once they're gone, they are gone forever. They are signed and numbered. And the standard, which we still need to come up with a better name for that, this will be hopefully available for a long time to come. It's impossible to predict numbers, so we feel like we may have printed enough, but honestly, we don't really have the answer there. So they'll be available as frequently as we can make them available.
I would say the fact that it crashed the site is not a good sign for having that many.
They've sold out already. Yeah, they haven't. I'm not sure.
My friend Ari Eisenberg asked, does the book stay flat on a table like Andy's other square books? Why don't you talk about the size of this book and what the square book means for those who don't know?
Yeah, so I have a series of books that are kind of large format square, and they are books where I've written about the magic of my friends, Jack Parker, Thomas Blomberg, and Scott Robinson. And they're specifically square so that they lay flat. But this one, I'm using very heavy paper so that, also, I know it's hard to see, but also these pages will lay flat, and they're bound in such a way that you give a little press and they will completely stay flat. And you get the little ribbon there as well.
Right.
In place.
Okay. So now, we don't have all day, but here's the good news. A couple announcements, and then we're going to do something very exciting. At 5 o'clock, Andy and I are going to go live as a continuation of this, but much more informal. We're going to get into some more nitty-gritty, some sillier questions, and a lot more about the book. And you're even going to get to see some contents of the book. So to go to that live, that's at 5 p.m. on our respective Instagram accounts. So
our personal Instagrams.
What's that?
Our personal Instagram accounts, that is.
Yes, our personal respective Instagram accounts. And we're going to chat there and take all your questions and have a little more fun. It's going to be a little more relaxed. The drugs that Andy's taken will have worn through his body by that point, so he won't be quite so electric. There he goes. It was only a matter of time. Yeah. But what we want to do now is, many of you have joined us since we started. It is very much worth talking about. It only takes 90 seconds. I want to replay the trailer for The Boy Who Cried Magic. And when we come back, we're getting so many questions in the chat. Did you get it in one take? How did you film it? Whose extremely clever hands are those sliding one of the slides out? Look for my appearance. Okay, here's a behind-the-scenes thing. I make 2 appearances in Andy's trailer that you aren't going to notice. On the second board, my hand is the one that slides out, and I also hand him up the thing that just appears in his hands. And as a little Easter egg just to myself, my water bottle is Rogue and in the shot from filming all day, and it is in the background when he starts to walk toward the table he films at. So look for the water bottle and look for my hand.
And also look for one other thing, which is try and work out the path that Josh had to take to be the guy to take that board and give me the other one, because he had to do some crazy gymnastics to get that. Over the past 10 years, I've helped to publish more than 100 magic books. And after every one, I said mine would be next. But it never was. All that changes today with my new book, The Boy Who Cried Magic. It's not actually that big, though. The Boy Who Cried Magic is the result of 2 decades of performing and creating magic. It contains my full walk-around set and tricks I've used at the Magic Castle, and even routines I've performed on stage and television. Just not the balloon trick. But it does contain the very best magic I've ever created, including 16 new routines and 15 different techniques, including my latest work on the Master Push-Off, and even my undo cut, which is used by some of the best card magicians in the world. But you probably want to see a trick from it, and this one uses the 4 kings and a card that you're about to select. Reach in, take out any one you like, and we'll place it back into the deck. You can see it go all the way in. Now you get to choose how this trick ends. You can choose either the Red Kings or the Black Kings.
Red.
The Red Kings. Check this out. The Red Kings will vanish from my hand and appear over here in the middle of the deck with one card between them. That card is your card, the 10 of Diamonds. I believe that the best magic books are a result of a lifetime of performing and perfecting. And they don't just contain new tricks, but also techniques you can apply to the magic you already do. I've spent my lifetime performing and perfecting these routines. In the past 10 years, writing and publishing magic books. And so, I'm proud to present the first book of my own material, The Boy Who Cried Magic. I just was checking the website. It still keeps going down, so I'm sorry to everyone who's trying to get on, but we'll get it fixed.
And what's hilarious is we sort of roll our eyes at all the competing sites that we crashed the site because you ordered something. We never resort to that kind of trickery, but we're never going to be able to convince anybody that we didn't stage this. But hilarious. Okay.
I can imagine what the jerks is going to say already. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. He's definitely watching, I'm sure. So let's talk about the trailer, and then we have a few more quick-fire questions, and then we got to go. So some thoughts on the trailer. How many takes did this take you? I know I was there, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, that's up for discussion, how many takes it took, I guess. But the one thing we'll say is that none of us thought we could actually do it in one take, but I was convinced that I should at least be given the chance to try, because there are so many moving parts in that trailer. There's a team of, I think, 8 people, but Matt Gilmore, who's the director of the shoot, I think I saw him have a comment. So, Matt, we love what you did, and you are the only person who I think was able to pull off that vision, so thank you very much. But we didn't really think that we were going to get it in one take, and we built some ways just in case if we couldn't. But thanks to the patience of everybody on that team, it took a full day, but we did finally get there. So how many takes do you think it took, Josh?
I would say it took over 40. I know that I think I got the evil eyes from George because I was like teasing you at one point. I was like, okay, I think that's take number 40. You were like, it's not 40, is it? And George was like, no. And he was like, but look, it's a tall order because it was hot in there. You were in a 3-piece suit. You had all the things memorized. If you take a weird step, if I hand it to you too far and you see my wrist, you have to do it again. But it was a really cool day. I had no faith we were going to be able to do it in one take, and you did nail it after about 7 hours. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, let's just say thanks to Patty and Misty, who are our spectators, for watching that trick so many times. So thank you to them and everybody else on the team. I'm so proud of what we achieved with that trailer.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. Looks absolutely gorgeous. So some more quick-fire questions. Then we'll do one last deck giveaway, and then we're going to move over to Instagram. So let's get to, there were some good ones. Ryan Plunkett, does the book also come in blue?
Yeah, very funny. Yeah, good work, Ryan.
How much? So Josh Fehrenbaugh asked, how much of this material requires the master push-off as a prerequisite? We've given that a lot of time, but explain to them what's happening.
Yeah, master push-off is a very small section of the book, and some tricks require it, but most tricks don't. But only one trick in the book actually requires fully the master push-off. The other ones that use a double lift, you can use any double lift for.
This is an excellent question. This is such an excellent question that I doth proclaim Scott Krupp gets a free deck of cards for asking it. So Scott Krupp, DM us on our Instagram, and we're going to give you a free deck of cards for this question. It is, how did the process of producing books for so many other people contribute to the creative process of creating yours? How do you feel as though you've been able to refine what you've learned from others to create something really special?
It's a great question, Scott. Yeah. The hardest thing and also the greatest thing about working with other people is they have different visions to me. So quite often I'll be laying out or designing a book and the author will say, I really think that we should be using that font. And it's not the font I would have naturally chose, or it really should be that size, or the photos should be like this and not this style. And I'm sat there going, no, I really think it should be this style. I think we should do it this way. And I think this would be clearer for the reader. but I'm not always right. I'm just one man as part of the team. So I don't always get my own way, essentially. Whereas with this book, I did. So yeah, that's, I guess, what I learned was what I liked and what my style is by working with other people, because by putting some things in that other authors weren't keen on, but I knew that I could find a path for my own work over time.
So Jeffrey Sobel and others have asked questions along this line. I know people ask me a lot about this for you. How did you have time to write this book, and can you speak to how you budget your day, what your workflow is like, whether you ever see your son at all, those sorts of things?
Yeah, juggling my workday is really tough, and I do have a few techniques along the way, but the way I ended up getting this book done was to take time off Vanishing Ink. And for the last 11 years or so, I've worked on Vanishing Ink every day. And for many of those days, all day, every day, and all night, every night. So it's an all-encompassing job, because it's not just the website that you see. There's so much behind the scenes that has to go on. So I ended up taking a couple of months out, and I took my family to Las Vegas, and we spent time. We rented a house there. We spent time in Las Vegas together, just chilling, and so that my mind was clearer. And that's when I wrote, or at least finished the writing of this book. So yeah, truly the only way was to give myself headspace, which I pretty much never done before. And it was really rewarding. And off the back of that, we promised ourselves that every summer when my son's on school holidays, he gets 8 weeks off. So we are going to go somewhere and spend those 2 months together every summer from now on.
This is a really interesting and heartwarming question. This is from David Gladwin, Andy's dad.
I know that guy.
David Gladwin is asking, can you show us all your robot dance move?
Yeah, that is not from my dad. I can tell you that. So because of that, you do not get to see the dance, because Josh made up a David Gladwin story.
If I asked you to do the robot dance move, would you do it?
I would have, but hey, no. So I one quick thing I want to say. I did a podcast interview yesterday, and it was really fun. It's called Magicians Talking Magic Podcast. And I've been listening to some of these kind of back issues of the podcast. They're great. So hopefully you guys can check it out. It just launches, I think, in the next 20 minutes or so. So check those guys out. They are on their 100th episode this week.
Okay, I'm just checking the chat again. David Gladwin's giving a lot of frowny faces, so I'm not sure. That might have caused some friction there, but yeah, fine. Listen, I want to just swing the conversation away from The Boy Who Cried Magic for 1 second. While you were off camera, we were talking a little bit about Justin Willman debuting our Showtime feature. But tell the listeners who are just tuning in and what they can expect from this, and then we're going to get back to your book for a second and then say goodbye. Yeah,
Showtime essentially comes, like all good things that we work on, from our love of magic and what we want to see. So we wanted to see more magic shows and more virtual magic shows. So we decided, why not throw the party ourselves? So we have Justin Willman doing a show this month, December 9th. Josh will correct me if I get that wrong. But then also we have Ben Seidman next month. And then Carissa Hendricks, Lucy Darling, the month after. And that's just the start. So these are shows where you get to join all of us, and we're going to watch the show together. And then we're going to have an exclusive Q&A with the performer straight after that. And also, let's not forget, while we're talking about this stuff, is we have Guy Hollingworth, our favorite magician, doing a masterclass live session starting on Sunday. And I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be exceptional. And listen, for those who are joining us, if you've never been part of our live events, we're really proud of this pivot that our company has done. So Andy's just giving you the hint. But yeah, a takeaway should be every Sunday we have a lesson from a top magician in the world. And this is the perfect month to join. It's only $50 a month if you join. That comes with 3 lessons and a full Q&A session where you get to interact with the performer. And it's Guy Hollingworth. I am telling you, you will never get a chance like this again. It's an amazing opportunity. And then our Showtime feature, which we're not even sure if we're going to do it beyond February. So if you're interested and you're excited and you want to watch something with your family and do something cool, please sign up for Justin Willman's. But now, back to the book. We're back to the last 2 questions, and then we're going to play the trailer for those just stopping in on our way out the door. The last question from the guests, and then I'm going to ask your very last question. It's from Landon Stark, and he just wants to know, where was the trailer shot? But I think the more interesting question to ask is, explain the process, given all the laws and how we had to get together to be at the warehouse for our team, that we had to do just to be able to film this.
So this book should have been launched way earlier this year. And if you're sat there wondering, like many people are, why did it take so long? Why have you been talking about this book for so long? It's because of the pandemic. I had a vision in mind of what I wanted to achieve with this trailer. And I, just like all other parts of the book, I did not want to compromise. And I knew that I could only achieve this vision if we filmed with the team we filmed with in the location we filmed with, which was in Las Vegas. But you can't fly to Las Vegas. If you're living in Europe, you can't get to Las Vegas right now. But we found a workaround, and it required us talking to the American embassy through the British embassy, and they recommended the workaround. They said, you have to go and stay somewhere. They gave us a list of countries for 2 weeks, and then you can get into America. So me, Josh, and George, we all went to Mexico for 2 weeks. And we thought it was going to be the most relaxing 2 weeks of our lives. It wasn't, because there was a tornado. So we had to evacuate there, but then eventually we got into Las Vegas, and we filmed this in the largest soundstage in Las Vegas. It was overwhelming how big it was, and there was us in the one soundstage. The other one, they were filming a rap video where they had like water sprinklers going everywhere and girls dancing. It was crazy. So yeah, it was the most fun I've ever had. I have to remind myself I am the luckiest man alive to do the job I do. So yeah, we had a great time on that trailer shoot.
On that trailer shoot, Andy also referred to it as the rap music, because he's cool like that.
That's what it's called, right?
The rap music. I don't think that's what it's called, but fine. Hey, I have one last question, and this is a sort of an important one, and I know you think about this, but maybe you haven't thought about it for this book in particular. What do you hope that the legacy of this project will be? In other words, when, take Guy Hollingworth, because we just were talking about him. He wrote a book in our childhood, and that has a very specific legacy now. I mean, the legacy of that book is, right in the intro, he said, look, I do moves because I love to do moves that please me. And I think that there can be enjoyment for the magicians as well as the audience that sees it. That's where he printed his Torn and Restored card. There's a lot of legacies to that book. If you could see this book out in 5 years, what do you hope that the takeaway is for people from this book?
I watched Hamilton recently, and there's a line, Lin-Manuel, I can never say his name, Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote this line for Alexander Hamilton. He says, what is a legacy? It is planting seeds in a garden that you cannot see. And in some ways, that's kind of what publishing a magic book is like, because you're planting seeds that you often can't see the results of. So I actually hope that the legacy is not about me or my tricks. I hope it's about how they inspire other magicians. Truly, I want this to be a book where people value owning magic books more than they do reading them. It seems often. I often hear people say, oh yeah, I have that book. But I rarely hear people say, I studied that book. So my hope is that people study this book and that they're inspired to work on their own magic or work on my magic, tweak it, improve it, customize it, do whatever they like. But the legacy I want this to be is not mine, it's other magicians and what they do with this material.
Well put. Well put. And let me just say, I have watched you bring this idea from a little seed to a manuscript to a very big book, and then pare it down to the book that we see. And as your friend, I couldn't possibly be prouder of you. So highest compliments. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I don't really know. We're going to check right now. I don't know what's going on with the site, but we're going to fix it. Andy, there's a couple other issues that need your attention. If you want to continue the conversation, we're going to come back in exactly 10 minutes at our personal Instagram page. So for me, it's at Joshua J. Magician. Andy, for you, it's what?
Who is Andy?
Okay, cool.
I think it is. No, it's not. It's Andy Gladwin. I'm terrible at social media.
Better. Good. So we'll see you in 10 minutes. And listen, if there are ordering problems, please bear with us and be patient and check back tonight, because we will get it under control and we will get those shipped out as soon as we possibly can.
Before we go, can I just say a quick thing? There are so many people I need and want to thank for this this book, this project. Of course, Josh, my best friend, has been there every step of the way. So thank you, including doing this, but for every bit of input you've had into this project and into my magic. But there are so many other people as well. There's George, who designed the cover, Mike, who designed the deck of cards, but George also did some photographs for the book, so did James Went. Matt was the director of the trailer. But there's so many people I would need to thank, but I would take up too much of your time. But thank you, everyone, for being part of this project.
All right. Well, guys, we'll see you in 10 minutes for a much more candid, relaxed, fun, goofy conversation. We'll give away some decks of cards over there as well. So bye. This is, oh, he's roboting out. He's roboting out again.
No, we'll do it on Instagram.
George, make it full screen.
We'll do it on Instagram.
No, do it now. Do it now. No. We're not going to end this live until he does the robot out. Good
news. I've got the controls. Let's play the trailer, everybody. See you soon. Over the past 10 years, I've helped to publish more than 100 magic books. And after every one, I said mine would be next. But it never was. All that changes today with my new book, The Boy Who Cried Magic. It's not actually that big, though. The Boy Who Cried Magic is the result of 2 decades of performing and creating magic. It contains my full walk-around set and tricks I've used at the Magic Castle and even routines I've performed on stage and television. Just not the balloon trick. But it does contain the very best magic I've ever created, including 16 new routines and 15 different techniques, including my latest work on the Master Push-Off and even my undo cut, which is used by some of the best card magicians in the world. But you probably want to see a trick from it, and this one uses the 4 kings and a card that you're about to select. Reach in, take out any one you like, and we'll place it back into the deck. You can see it go all the way in. Now you get to choose how this trick ends. You can choose either the red kings or the black kings.
Red.
The red kings. Check this out. The red kings will vanish from my hand and appear over here in the middle of the deck with 1 card between them. That card is your card, the 10 of diamonds. I believe that the best magic books are a result of a lifetime of performing and perfecting. And they don't just contain new tricks, but also techniques you can apply to the magic you already do. I've spent my lifetime performing and perfecting these routines. In the past 10 years, writing and publishing magic books. And so, I'm proud to present the first book of my own material, The Boy Who Cried Magic.